All right, welcome folks to how to fill out the Form 1040X to amend your individual tax returns from this year or previous years. Okay, you can go back up to 3 years. So at the beginning here, obviously you want to put the return. This return is for calendar year, whatever year it is, or fiscal year. Enter month and year ended, right? And then of course your first and middle name, your last name, social security number. You can put your spouse's name here and information here if you desire. I don't recommend it. I recommend filing separately just to keep things simple. So you can leave that all blank. The home address, etc., etc. If there's a foreign country name, etc., if it applies, leave this blank. It says presidential election campaign. You don't know where those $3 are going to. You don't know who they're supporting because they're not specific, and so we'll just leave that blank. So amended return filing status, you have to check when even if it didn't change, even if your status didn't change, but if it's so single or married filing separately or head of household, however you filed previously, or if you desire to change that status here, although it doesn't really affect your taxes at all because again, remember the taxes don't apply to you. So again, scroll down. If you select married filing separately, MFS, you can put your spouse's name here. Now, let me explain these columns. Column A is going to be, should contain the information as you had it filed previously, right? Section column B is going to be the difference, right, between what was reported previously and what is the actual corrected amount, which column C is the corrected amount, which should all be zeros except for a couple points, parts where we're gonna tell them that there were taxes taken out that should not have been, and that's what we are amending and and claiming our return for. So however it was originally, you fill all the original information out the same as it was. The net change is going to be minus whatever the original thing was, because again, since there is no application or no taxable income, all of this gets wiped out to irrelevance to zero, right? So correct amount is going to be 000 for all income, and deductions is going to be zero. Tax liability. Now, if you previously paid at one of these tax liabilities, then you would have that here as well. But the actual amount is actually zero. So you would, because these taxes actually don't apply to you, but you would make a note of them, how much they were here. Make the notice here that it was minus the total amount because the actual amount was zero. And then you add that up to the total taxes that you had. And so now to the next section in payments, what you're going to do, oops, I went too far, sorry. In payments, you're going to put in here, again, the previously information as it was before. The corrected information is going to be 000 zeros, and the difference is going to be what, or the difference is going to be subtraction of what, minus whatever the total was. So the payments here is going to be however much you had reported as taxes that were taken out of your income previously. That's what you put here. The difference in between that and the current amount is all of it. Yeah, so income tax withheld and excess social security. Okay, leave. All right, so leave this part here blank, right? 13, estimated tax payments, including amount paid from prior year's return. Whatever the full amount was that you paid, which should be all of it together, or this would be zeros. Earned income credit, zeros, because you're not applying for credits. Refundable credits, again, leave the credits alone. Number 16, paid. Total amount paid with request for extension of time to file. Tax paid with original return and additional tax paid after a return was filed. If you have any of that, you put that here. That is any of that in addition to the federal taxes. And then number 17, you put the total amount of add lines 12 through 15. That's going to be your total amount. And then the next section, which is the actual refund part, is going to be the overpayment, which is what you have done. as shown on the original return, which is the total amount of taxes that you paid for this tax year. You would put that number 19, and then 19. I'm sorry, 18. Number 19 is subtract 18 from 17, which if it's less than zero, see the instructions. Amount owed. You don't owe any, so then this is zeros and zeros. And now amount of line 21. So amount you owe is 0, and then 11. Sorry, so line 21 is line 11, which is right here, the total taxes. Um, oh no, I'm sorry. Line 11, 19 is if line 11 in column C is less than 19, enter the difference. This is the amount overpaid on the return, right? So line 11 is right here, the total taxes however much it was before. Now the accurate is minus, right? So and this is the total amount. So it should be the total taxes paid that are on line I'm sorry here, on line 19, which is right here, which is the total amount that is going to be owed to you. So you would put the amount here and then leave the other ones apply 23 would leave blank because again, you're not going to have a future tax filing because taxes no longer apply to you. And then dependents, again, you can just leave that blank, fill it out as previously as it was. Net changes, you can remove them or keep them if you desire, and the correct could be none, or just leave that section as it was, which is actually blanked for their use. And then down here, this section of dependents, you can list your kids here and your wife if you decide to, or your spouse. Otherwise, you don't need to because remember, this is again for considering tax credits which don't apply. And then part two, again, the most important section is explanation of changes, which as you've seen before, I learned that I do not earn wages according to USC 26 subsection 3401 definition D. Therefore, line 22, in this case, we come here up here. You'll see it is line 22. Come up here. Went too far. Line 22 right here. I'm sorry. Yeah, line 22, which is the total amount of taxes to be refunded should be returned as per USC 26 subsection 3503. Sign, date, your occupation, have us sign and date if we want to have us do it for you, and then you're good to go. And that's how you fill out 1040X.